All right, one of the Angle's favorite political analysts, and that's a high bar, has some innovative suggestions to help solve the current immigration crisis. Victor Davis Hanson has been thinking a lot about how the left can live up to its own rhetoric and beliefs on asylum seekers. The scholar from Stanford's Hoover Institution joins us now to explain. And here to debate him, immigration attorney and author of the book Safe Haven in America, Michael Wildes. Great to have you both. So VDH, pleasure. Give me your suggestion. Lay it on us.
Well, you know, people keep talking about detention centers, and then now there's a suggestion of military camps, but we have over 500 colleges and universities, and it's summertime, and most of their dorms are half, if even half, utilized. Many of them are sanctuary campuses and sanctuary cities, so it seems to me that the university is a progressive bastion of these values of welcoming immigrants, and we could contract the federal government, use idle dorms, and then draw on the resources of the campus for legal help from the law schools, medical centers. It's an ideal place. Kids could intern rather than going to Wall Street or Washington. They could intern.
Oh, great idea.
And it raises the larger question that really the answer to this question is if you really have an ideological trajectory toward open borders, and you have to live with the other, and you have to go to school with them, you have to live next to them, you have to be empathetic, and you can't just view them as cheap or inexpensive labor, and that's part of the whole point. When Peter Fonda tweets from Paradise, Montana, one of the least diverse places in the United States, about Barron Trump, it would have been so much easier if he had said, you know what, my grandkids are going to go to the LA city schools, we're 70% Latinos, and we're not going to engage in white flight. Mark Zuckerberg could have said, you know what, no more Sacred Heart or Castellet or private academies. Let's live with the other, and let's match our ideology with concrete reality.
Michael, here are some of the endowments of our most prestigious universities, and they all have one version or another of sanctuary policies or centers or immigration attorneys and so forth. Harvard University's endowment is $35.7 billion. Stanford, $22.4 billion. MIT, $13.2 billion. Columbia, paltry $9 billion. That's a lot of money. I mean, they give a lot of scholarships out, which is nice, and some of them go to legal immigrants. But why not open up the campus, at least in the summertime? What do you think?
Well, first, thank you for having me. Look, you know, the transferring of this responsibility to the private sector is just not practical. If the president and the administration had prepared before they literally shut the doors or separated the children from their parents, then it may be part of the solution. Look, let's be practical about this. Food, security, liability insurance. All of these issues have to be vetted, and they can't be vetted by schools that have their own interests. Look, we have a very interesting history with foreign nationals and students going to the schools, and it seems that the schools for years profited from all the tuition, and there was always this interest that they would pony up in Congress and hold their share. But this is, as much as the gentleman intends it, not a very serious solution to a problem.
But Michael, whoa. It's the old saying, put your money where your mouth is, right? Put your money, if you believe in this issue, don't be an individual who skates on the periphery. That's why I really admire people who work with organizations on the ground and helping people in their home countries. I talk about Food for the Poor a lot. They're a great organization. They do work in Central America and Haiti on the ground with the people, helping them be self-sustainable. It's great. But when you sit in like Brentwood or Malibu or Georgetown here in Washington, and then you go put a target on a piece of paper on Stephen Miller and then paper the neighborhood, I'm not impressed. I'm really not impressed.
I'm also not impressed when people don't walk the walk. But shifting the responsibility to the private sector for a government function like this is really not practical.
Well, no, but if you want to send them into the country, what I'm saying is, in VDH, you can comment on this. If you want to send them into the country and separate them, they got to go somewhere.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Yeah, what's symptomatic of this entire issue is that people don't live the consequences of their loud ideology. I'm looking out the window at my farmhouse, and I see mostly illegal immigrants up and down my rural road. My kids went to public schools with them. I see them every day. I'm trying to be part of the solution. I don't agree with illegal immigration, but it's a fact, and we're dealing with it. But my problem is that universities at which I work, I hear all of this loud acrimony, and yet when I look carefully at where people live, where they put their kids at school, whom they associate, whom they hire to do their dirty work. It's a reality that doesn't match the abstract ideology, and therefore we create cynicism. That's what created Donald Trump, is that all these people said globalization and open borders were wonderful, but the ramification in the real world, how it affected real people, did not affect them. They were able to navigate because of their power, their influence, their wealth. They were able to navigate around the ramifications
Michael.
of their own ideology,
this-
and that's where we are today. It's got a highly cynical population that does not trust elite bromides for this problem.
It seems
Michael.
more of an intellectual pursuit than a practical pursuit. We all want to fix this. I'm a law professor here in New York. Every school is doing what they feel their constituency would support. They cannot open their doors and act in a government function without creating more tax burdens on the local municipalities and the community. I'm a former mayor in New Jersey. I can just well imagine the different municipalities that are already overtaxed, the police and the
Right,
fire and
Michael.
so forth.
Michael, I'm so glad you made that point.
Wait.
You're right. You're right.
That's
There's
what
too much.
the federal
this
government
costs
does
too
that
much
all
money.
the time.
Yeah, but to secrete
That's
the
what
kids,
the federal government does all the time. They contract services out to individual entities.
This
They
was
do that
Catholic
all the
Church.
time.
This was
Catholic
not
Church
with
gets 90
caregivers.
million
They
a
do
year.
it.
This was not a planned move. When everybody showed up at the border,
Either was the boarding
this-
crossing. It was not planned.
Yeah,
the
all of
boarding
this was
crossing,
not
whether it was
planned.
in
And then you
2014
don't
or today,
you don't
was
just
not
move
planned.
people to the school campuses because they're vacant. We don't move people like chattel. These are families that are going to be torn from one another, and
Well,
going
no,
to a college
right.
campus may not be the most hygienic thing in the world.
Oh my God! Well, then what are we doing with all their kids?
Oh,
going
it
to
would
college
be the
campuses?
best introduction to America.
Yeah.
Yeah, a pastoral campus and supportive
I
network
think
would be
the gentleman
ideal.
has a lot of time on his hands, and it's a wonderful intellectual pursuit. But from the practicality as a lawyer, trying to administer all the liability and all the exposure and the security, the food and the medical attention, it's just not practical. And you're shifting the responsibility to the
Right.
state and the city.
Well, right now, let me just, we're out of time, but I think the American people, the working people, who haven't really, most of them haven't had a raise in like 30 years, the median income just starting to go up under Trump, thank goodness. Most of them are like, well, wait a second, like, who's looking out for the blue collar workers before Trump? And now we're supposed to just flood the country with more low-skilled workers going to come into the country and, drive me out of whatever business I'm in. Maybe it was landscaping before, construction, and I think people are frustrated, so they don't want to pick up the tab
I
either,
appreciate
Michael.
the frustration, but these individuals, by and large, are here for our country's mercy and not for our indignation or our judgment, and they're entitled to a day in court. You can't give that to them in a campus that has a lacrosse team and a library and all of that. They need access to lawyers, good medical
Right.
attention,
Okay,
and the
but
right
a lot
kind
of
of
people
treatment.
want access to lawyers and good medical who are American citizens.
Stanford
who don't
has
have
some of
any
the best
that.
lawyers in the world.
Yeah, guys, thank you so much.
Campuses have
Congress,
some of
by
the
the
best
way, will
lawyers in the
hear
world.
from that lead FBI agent who sent those vicious